skeptical ideas might have not only influenced religious belief, but also the framework of scientific method. In fact, being skeptical is one of the qualities of a good scientist. Aristotle described the goal of science, or natural philosophy as it was known at that time, as the discovery about the essence of things. In other words, scientists should, for instance, find out the fundamental properties that define what something is. However, at the start of the 17th century, natural philosophers began to doubt whether the Aristotelian method is capable of finding the real essence of the world. Two different paths to skepticism led to the formulation of two very different approaches to the epistemological foundation of natural philosophy. One of them is by retaining the epistemological goal of natural philosophy of obtaining the true essence of things. Some philosophers attempted to reformulate the foundation of natural philosophy in order to find a skeptic proof method of finding the essence of things. For example, Descartes said that a certain conclusion can be obtained using geometrical demonstration instead of sensory knowledge. John Wilkins argued that different kinds of knowledge require its unique kind of proof, such as metaphysics to promote a portable statement into a fact not only depending on mathematical demonstration. Either way, they still believe that it is possible to find the fundamental truth of the world. On the other hand, another group of philosophers completely deny the possibility of obtaining the knowledge of the essence. Instead, certainty should be replaced by probability. John Locke claimed that all of our ideas are derived from either sense or reflection on ideas drawn from science. Thus, it's possible to acquire the real essence of things. However, this doesn't mean that scientific knowledge is irrational. According to Robert Boyle, a theory can be confirmed to a certain degree depending on its intelligibility, simplicity, scope of explanation, and predictive powers. This means that even though a theory is just probabilistically true, it is still useful if it can explain some natural phenomena and make truthful predictions about nature. Today, scientists are conducting experiments to test and understand the fundamental properties of nature. For example, predictions made by Albert Einstein's theory of relativity have been proven true again and again through scientific experiments. Skeptical ideas have guided scientists to remain objective when conducting research. For example, skepticism encourages scientists to doubt unsubstantiated claims or unproven hypotheses. This methodology sets science apart from pseudoscience, which is defined as false claims disguised as proven scientific claims. All pseudoscientific claims such as vaccine cause autism can have adverse effects on our well-being. Because of that, we need to develop our thinking to be more skeptical and critical in order to protect ourselves against lies and misinformation.
Now, let's go back to the first question posed in the video. How can we be sure if something is true? And how can skeptical values help us to avoid being manipulated or misinformed? Firstly, we need to realize our flaws and biases and take careful steps to detect them. For example, we should look into both sides of the argument before making up our own mind, instead of believing a single source of information. When looking into someone's claim, it's best to not jump into conclusion. Being skeptical avoids us from doing that and forces us to seek further evidence before believing in something. Next, we should also keep a healthy and open mindset. Being prepared to consider new and credible evidence can avoid us from suffering from cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is a mental conflict that occurs when we encounter new information that challenges our prior belief. By having an open mindset, we can develop our thoughts to be more mature and flexible. Lastly, we should be aware of logical fallacies in an argument, which can be used to deceive or convince you. The most famous logical fallacy may be the one you have commonly heard of, which is the appeal to authority fallacy. It is when your mother, for example, tells you to go to bed because she said so. In other words, she's claiming that she is the authority and, therefore, whatever she says is right. This is a logical fallacy because it doesn't provide any solid reasoning on why you should be going to bed. By being aware of these nasty tricks, we can avoid being duped into believing illogical arguments. To conclude, we have seen how skeptical ideas, which originated from Greek philosophy, have influenced European history and transformed the way scientists think about science. It is also important to develop a healthy level of skepticism in order to be able to. Our reasoning may be flawed and susceptible to many factors, but by being conscious about our thoughts, we can become better thinkers.